look at things like that. When you drop, that's significant, by the way. If I switch this, just to show you that, because I think that people don't really, somebody have a calculator? You have a calculator, Tom? No? Oh, you're recording right now. Okay. Anybody else have a calculator? Okay. Just pull out a calculator for me. Here. I'm going to have you do it. You can press, be my calculating engineer. Let's just say that we've got 6 units, and we're here in Austin, and we found a 6-unit building, and the water bill here, what's an average water bill, would you say? $40 a month? Something like that? 45? Something? Okay, let's use 45. At $45 per month times 6, how much is that? How much? $270. If you take $270 and annualize that, how much is that? What is it? $32.49? 40. Okay. So $3,240. Now, if I'm going to submeter the building, obviously there's going to be some cost there. On average, I'd say a good estimate, we're just doing the submetering property now that cost us about $230 a unit, something like that. We're going to use $250 though, just to be conservative here. So $250 per unit times 6 equals how much? $1,500 bucks? $1,500 is our cost. If we compare our cost to saving $3,240 a year, is that a good deal? Does anybody disagree with me on that? What's that? No, you're missing the whole point here. You don't have that bill anymore because the tenants are paying their own water bills. So you've paid $1,500 to get that property submetered. Because you were paying the water bill at $3,240 for the year, this is now eliminated. You've just put $3,240 more per year in your pocket. Do you see that? You've just given yourself a raise. If we do this cost versus benefit analysis, would this be worth it? Does anybody does not think this would be worth it? Okay, good. We're on the same page here. This is not what I'm most excited about. I would love if somebody put $3,240 in my pocket. But that's not what I'm most excited about. If you note, this is a 6-unit building, so it's driven on cap rate. So let's just say that we're in the college UT area, and the cap rate here is pretty low. Let's just say, what is it, 7.25? Or less? Let's just use 5. Let's just use, you want to use 5? I mean, that would be extreme. Let's use 6, just to be conservative. If you take $3,240 and divide it by 0.06, what do you get? 54,000? By submetering the building for water and giving yourself a raise of $3,240, you've just increased the value of that building by $54,000. Does everybody see that? If your property management partner, because that's probably the best way to put it, is not working on these activities on your investment, they're the wrong partner for you. Does everybody see that? This is really where the rubber hits the road. Within a short amount of time, if you've got a proactive property manager and you can find and raise funds or have your own funds to come in, buy the investments, implement things like this and a lot more, not just this, but a lot more, I totally believe you can completely change your financial situation in a very short amount of time because of the velocity of money. And you don't have this type of velocity of money with 4 units and under. You get that in 6 and over. 4 and under, we're going to have a little bit different strategy with. But these are the things that I think it would be important to work with your property management on. Again, when you have NOI goals, and we go back to that relationship with the property manager, we've just dropped our expenses by 3240, meaning we've raised our net operating income by 3240. Does everybody see that? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what you should be looking for in a partner, okay? Very, very important. I noticed you left your ringer on. We're going to talk about you while you're gone, so go ahead and take that phone call. Now, while he's gone, I hope you don't mind, but I'd like to implement a policy. If you leave your ringers on, and they ring while we have class going on, the person's ringer they got left on has to come up here and sing I'm a Little Teapot. I'm a Little Teapot, you know the song, was actually the first aerobic song ever done, right? You put a hand, this and that. So, I'd like to take a vote right now. That was the second time he left his ringer on, 4 or 5 times. Would we take a vote? Who votes that we have him sing I'm a Little Teapot up here? Good, we have a unanimous decision. So what's that? He's going to enjoy that? Well, we'll see how much he enjoys it. So what we would like to do is when he comes in, let's give him a round of applause. We'll get him up here, and he's going to sing I'm a Little Teapot, if you don't mind. And by the way, someone will have to grab me that mic when he comes in, if you could as well. So when he comes in, round of applause, have him come on up here, and he's going to perform for us. But does everybody get this? This is it. This is 90% of real estate investors and property managers do not get this. They do not get this. And this is where I think you are going to have a significant difference in your results. If you focus on this stuff. This is what I mean by not really focusing on, well, we make sure the grass is cut, and we make sure, we try to find the best tenants and stuff. That's all well and good, but what is really important specifically is stuff like this. This is where you're really going to do phenomenal things. Okay? Question?
I'd like to know how common submetering is in the United States.
Yeah, very good question. Submetering is something that just now is taking shape. Now, it depends on where in the country, because certainly in other parts of the country, like the Southwest, they're a little bit more hip on it because of water conservation. But there are a lot of areas that submetering hasn't hit yet. Now, there's some things you've got to notice with this when you use this technique in property management. Number one, you've got to wait till lease turnover to have that tenant start paying that water bill, unless you've got language in your lease. If you've got language in your lease that says owner/property manager, sorry John to make you walk, has the right to submeter the building for water and pass that expense on to the tenant, then you can do it right away. But typically you're going to have to wait till lease turnover. Okay? Very good questions, but this is why I do what I do, because you can see what happens there. Okay? So you might think, well, John, what do you do with your property management company when you're just... Nope, that's not him. Wrong guy. We had premature clapulation there. Is what happened there. Premature clapulation. Yes, premature. Wow. I may need a wet nap. No, I'm just kidding. What you should do with your property management company is when you're taking over a property, buying a property, closing on a property, you've signed on the dotted line. I would have a budget meeting with that property manager. I'd also have an NOI goal meeting with that property manager. This may be one of 10 things you identify in which you're going to implement in that year to drive value. Now, if you have a single-family house, I would do the same thing. Remember that question I told you to ask property managers is, what do you plan to implement to drive the value of my asset? If it's a single-family house, you're going to have an idea of your competition as well. Remember, the sales comparison approach is going to be a little bit different than this technique, because this is 5 and over. In 4 and under, the sales comparison approach says that you're going to take your subject property and compare it to other properties that have similar characteristics that sold within a mile radius or a half-mile radius, depending on the appraiser, and that sold within the last 6 months. So for you to increase the value of your subject property, you've got to change what your subject property is being compared to. You have to know what those things are. Additional square footage, better landscaping, cleaner, that type of thing. Question?
John, you mentioned the other day the idea of having a staggered property management rate. So you'd do like a 5%, and then what would that look like? What would the other portion, obviously based off NOI, but what would that look like in terms of actual rate?
A staggered rate. I think we were talking about staggered leases.
No.
Yes, all right. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome back. I need you to come on up here to the front for me, please. Can you bring me that microphone for me, please? We have a special treat for you. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. Because we took a vote while you were gone. And because of we have a policy now that I don't know if you're aware of, but you're going to be our first person that is implementing this policy. If your phone rings out loud, not on silent or vibrate, but out loud, when you're in class, you have to come up and sing a song.
Sing?
Yes.
You don't want me to sing?
Well, we were told that you'd be excited about this. And the song is, come on over here to the front here, and kind of stand kind of in the light so it's almost like I love being in a spotlight. Yes, that's good. Right, a little bit more, right. And the song is, I'm a Little Teapot. And what's interesting about that song is it's the first kind of aerobic song because, this is my handle, this is my... Okay, yes, we've got a performer on our hands. So, this is going, I'm going to start you off, and then you're going to need to finish. I'd like you to do the whole thing. I'll hold that, right? So, you ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. This is my handle, this is my spout. When I get all steamed up, I scream and shout, tip me over and pour me out.
Okay, give him a hand. Very good. And I put that in the back.
And I've put my phone on silent.
Very good. Very good. See, I think we've got some performers here. I don't know if we're quite ready for Canadian Idol yet, but you never know. You never know. Let me check. You have another question? Oh, I didn't answer it. Yeah, I'm trying to skirt that question. I think we were talking about staggered leases.
No. You say you build in an incentive program for your property manager to maximize NOI.
Yes.
Typical property management contracts come in, we charge 7% of scheduled or gross, whatever. What I'm trying to figure out is what your management contract looks like and where that incentive is built in. So you suggested, I think you didn't show it, but you suggested, for example, 5%, and then what does that look like with the NOI?
For example, what I might say is I'm going to pay you 2.5% of gross receipts collected. I'm going to pay you another 2.5% if you achieve my NOI goal. I'll pay you 5.5% if you exceed that goal by 10%, 20%, something like that. Okay? Really good. Good questions. All right, here's what I want to do. Let's take a little 15-minute break. We will come back and continue with this. We're going to break for lunch. Same scenario as yesterday. I think maybe on the schedule, it says 2:30 on there, so we're going to break at 12. We'll come back at 2:30. We're going to have a different power team here today. Same type of questions you should be asking. Gilbert has a question.
Could I just share something that I did?
You want to share some? Sure.
Yeah. I bought a property like about 10 years ago. It was a fourplex. I did it for creative financing. It was a guy, like I do appliance repair as a business. And I've done service for this guy for years. And then I found out one day when I went there to fix a product, it was a for sale sign on a fourplex. So knowing him, I just did a vendor take back. Gave him $1,000. And I bought this property for $92,000. And so I took on payments for 3 years. The first thing I did is, this was in September. It was the coldest September that I could ever remember. It was so cold, I already had my winter parka on. But I go to the place, and the tenant, first of all, it's a story-and-a-half house, 1 bedroom in the basement, 2 bedrooms on the main floor, and 1 bedroom upstairs. And then there was this detached garage with a 1 bedroom on top of there. So there's 4 suites in a single-family home with a detached garage. I go there, it was freezing cold, and the person on the main floor controls the heat of the house. The central air conditioner was on, and I got my parka on, and I thought, what the heck? So I knocked on the door, I said, why? I said, there's a central air conditioner on. And she said, well, it's hot in here. I said, well, why is it so hot in here? Well, she says, I went grocery shopping, I had turned the heat on, and she had cranked it right to the very end. And she went grocery shopping, she came back, it was so cold, so hot, that she turned the air conditioner on because the windows that were in that house, they had just those little round holes in the bottom. And so she couldn't take the windows off, to cool or open up the windows. So she turns the air conditioner on. So anyway, that's it. I went straight to the hardware store, and I bought myself an electronic thermostat. Went into her house, ripped out that mechanical one, and I got her time schedule, when she works, when she comes back, everything that she does. And I programmed that thing. And then she complains to her, because it was a social assistance on that particular unit, that it was too cold. And yet I programmed it at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. At nighttime, during the day, it was 72. And it was still too cold for her. So anyway, so they complained about it. What they did is they allowed it to happen because there's nothing wrong with those temperatures. So this lady now, she goes and to the grocery store or to the store, she buys electric heaters. Now she had an electric heater in every room. So my bill just always keeps climbing, right? So that's it. So what happened anyway, so a guy was always late in his rent in the garage suite, and the garage was not insulated. It's just a cinder block walls. But the floor of it was, or the ceiling in the garage was insulated. And this guy he had a space heater in the garage. It's not insulated. And he's heating the garage in order to keep the floor warm upstairs so they don't freeze up there. So anyway, so I sealed that thing off, or I closed just that area off, and because there's a hot water tank in the garage too, so you didn't want that to freeze. And so I would just at least heat just that particular area. So that was my first experience of trying to control costs. And anyways, it cost me $820 for the bill in November, just for heat in that garage alone. Okay, that's it. It's just cheap, and the guy, by the way, all the suites are about $300 to about $350 a month rent, utilities included. So something's wrong with that math. The guy, it was $820 for 1 month in November. This is not even cold yet. Okay, so I kicked the guy out because he's always late anyway. In the springtime, I gave everybody a 90-day notice. I chased everybody out, and I did a rehab. Now, to make a long story short, what I did is I turned that whole garage into one little house. Got rid of the garage part, so now the living area was in the garage part, and then just the 2 bedrooms and a full 4-piece bath up on the top. But I turned everything in the house. I ripped that furnace out of there, got rid of the central air conditioner, and I just put window air conditioners in each unit. Got rid of the furnace, got rid of all the duct work, and I changed everything to baseboard heat. My utility bill that first year was $7,800 for 1 year. And don't forget, it's still just a story-and-a-half house. My utility bill after that, what I did is I changed, everybody had their own electrical panel, they had their own hydrometer, they each now have their own hot water tank, and all baseboard heat. So now my expense went down to $32 a month. And so that was translating to about less than $400 a year was my cost now. And that first year I had it, I paid $7,800. And I was early. I kicked the guy out of the garage after the first month. So that could have been like over $12,000 in 1 year. So just by getting rid of the furnace, getting rid of the central air, just putting in window air conditioners in each unit, and went baseboard heat with everybody. They paid their own utilities. It cost me, just a second here, it cost me $54,000 to do that. And so I'm saving $7,800 a year in hydro. And so I've heard that's like less than 7 years I got my money back.
Right.
And after that, it's just money in my pocket.
Okay. Good story. So utilities are important, absolutely. But we're going to take our 15-minute break. We will come back and continue with property management. Thank you very much.